And greetings. Thanks for joining me. If you're stopping by my channel for the first time, kindly consider subscribing. Today we're making a delightful, fruity, boozy fruit cake. And for the very first time, I'm gonna experiment on a gluten-free fruit cake. This is my very first attempt to make this cake and I'm so excited to share it with you. So please don't change that channel. Let's do it. So we're gonna make this very simple. Even though we're making two different cakes, we're gonna start off with one mixture and then separate it. In the mixer bowl, I'm adding some softened unsalted butter along with some margarine and light brown sugar. I'm using an electric mixer to cream this. I'll start it off on low speed and then increase it. You can also use a handheld mixer or you can use your hand and a spoon. When I was growing up, all we had was our hands and spoons, but we got the job done and we got it done right. At some point, maybe about halfway, you want to stop the mixer and scrape around the bowl. You want to make sure you get the mixture that's sticking to the corners to get mixed in also. Once it gets creamy and fluffy, we can start adding the eggs. And we want to add the eggs one at a time. If we add them all together, then they're going to mix more with themselves rather than mixing with the cream. And this is what I do. When I get to the last egg, I add all the condiments and then I pour it in. For me, it's easier, but you don't have to do it this way. I'm grating some nutmeg. Nutmeg is like a must when we are baking a cake. And I'm also grating the cinnamon stick. You can use the cinnamon powder. If you want to grate it, please be careful that none of the chips fall in there. To that, I'm adding some ground cloves, some vanilla extract, and some almond extract, and I'm going to pour it in. Next, I'm adding some whiskey. If you're giving this to kids, please don't add any alcohol. The cake will still taste great. I'm adding a pinch of salt because I use the unsalted butter, some baking powder, and some orange zest. I'll give it another minute to get everything incorporated. It's good here. I'll stop the mixer. It's looking nice, rich, and creamy. I'm going to be using a 10 and 6-inch cake pan. So I'm going to take out a little more than 1/3 of the batter and we're going to make that into the gluten-free, the smaller cake. I'm using the gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour and some almond flour for the gluten-free cake. You want to pour it in gradually and mix. And just in case you're wondering why I decided to make a gluten-free cake, I'm having a guest who is gluten-free coming over for the holiday. Because the gluten-free flour is all grains, I'm adding a little bit of baking soda. Hopefully it reacts with the acid in the wine and help the batter to rise a little so it's not overly dense. And next, the fruits. These are all dried fruits that were soaked in wine, whiskey, and some whole cinnamon sticks. If you want an alcohol-free cake or you're giving this cake to kids, you can substitute the alcohol with some fruit juice or some spiced tea. You want to make sure you take out the cinnamon stick before you add to the batter. If you're one of those people who don't like drinking alcohol, this is your chance to eat some. And I'm adding some chopped walnut. You don't want to chop it up too fine. You can also use pecan. You want to gently fold it to combine the fruits and nuts with the batter. It's always good to line the baking pan with some parchment paper or spray with some non-stick spray. The batter looks perfect. Hopefully the cake comes out perfect. I'll set this one aside and quickly finish up the batter for the regular cake. And this is the batter for the regular cake. I followed the same process as the gluten-free, except I used all-purpose flour and I didn't add any baking soda. Even it out, give it a little top, and I'll pop them in the preheated oven at 325 degrees for about 50 minutes or until I stick a toothpick in the center and it comes out clean. And after about 50 minutes, we got two beautiful, boozy, intoxicated fruit cakes. We're gonna let them sit for a couple hours and then cut into. This is the gluten-free one. To me, it's not looking any different from the regular one. We'll soon find out if it tastes any different. The consistency feels right. It's not fluffy and it's not overly dense. And now for the regular one. You can feed these cakes some alcohol and they will maintain their quality for many months. You can also decorate with some marzipan, some almond paste, or whatever kind of decoration you like. And now for the taste testing. First, I'm going to taste the regular one. Very good. And the gluten-free one? Wow. So moist. You gotta try this. Wow. And honestly, I could not tell the difference from the gluten-free cake versus the regular one. They were both amazingly good. All the ingredients with the measurements will be in the description box. Thanks for watching. Have a safe and healthy new year. Love you guys.